back to SPX 2017. My name is Joe.
I'm Rusty.
And I'm Jason.
Jason.
Rodriguez. Of case you want the last name.
Jason, guys, yeah.
Yeah.
You have a last name?
I have a last name.
That's
yeah.
impressive.
Wow.
I've been combining it lately. I'm like now J-Rod with an exclamation point.
Is
Just
it 'cause
stylized.
You got tired of like saying everything?
Well, I sign it J-Rod, so it's just easier. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And there's too many Jasons in this
It's
world,
a lot of
so
letters.
a J-Rod
you
is
gotta
nice.
specify.
Have you thought about changing your name to J-Rod?
Officially?
Yeah.
No. All right, I don't know if this is a story for this podcast, but I am potentially changing my name to Jason Isidore Rodriguez
Really?
to take on my deceased grandfather's first name.
That's so
Wow.
cool.
Anyway, doesn't matter.
So it's going to make it longer. Are you going to make this short? J-Rod's going to be even shorter now?
Well-
just J-Ro?
So the thing is, with Isidore, right, it's really easy to make a nickname that ends in Izzy.
Yeah.
But if I'm Jason Rodriguez, it'd be Jizzy, so that's not good. So I'm not going to do that.
yeah.
Well, it could be
That can-
J
yeah.
Izzy.
Jay Izzy, I could do
Jay-Izzy.
that, I guess.
But if you write that out, somebody's
Then
just going
people
to
are like,
Yeah,
what is
yeah.
this? Jizzy? Oh. All right.
So anyway, I
we
do
got
children's books. No.
We've covered names.
Yeah, in case you were wondering.
We've gotten names down pat now. Everybody has names. We know the names mostly. And then now let's move on.
I'm very comfortable with this
So
now. All right.
comics?
Comics. So yeah, I've been doing comics since about, 15 years. And
That's American years.
Yeah.
That's American years.
Real
That's,
years.
that's real
a long time.
Earth years. Like not Mars years, that's real Earth years. And I started doing whatever jobs I can get, and now I focus on educational and social justice focused anthologies.
Hell yeah.
So what kind of books have you put out?
So back in the day, right, I did an anthology called Western Tales of Terror. I did another one called Postcards for Random House. But now I'm on a 3-book series on underrepresented narratives from colonial American history. I did an anthology called Artists Against Police Brutality with 2 other co-editors. I just finished a month-long workshop thanks to a grant from the DC Council for Humanities, teaching first-generation Latinx teenagers how to make comics. And we're publishing their memoirs in 2018, an anthology. And that's what I do.
What kind of drove you into this direction for comics?
Well, originally, it was the fact that, I grew up using supplemental literature and picture books a lot, right? So, Charlie Brown encyclopedias were, my supplemental literature, right, as a kid, my supplemental education. And I just loved those kind of books, and I always wanted to do them. The market wasn't right for them when I first started doing comics, but then it became right for them, so I started doing them. And then I would be lying if I didn't say that the Trump presidency has drove me to do more of it. So now I'm trying to focus more on immigration stories. Because I just think it's a great medium, especially for Latinx kids who we're dealing with a lot of bilingual students, a lot of people who don't even know English, and the juxtaposition of they could infer a lot more in the story just from the pictures alone. So I think it's a very important resource for these kids.
So what got you into the anthology format? That's been pretty much your
Yeah,
steady
that's
throughout,
pretty
right?
much been I kind of just fell into it, really. I was writing stories for anthologies, and I wrote one for that Western Tales of Terror book, and the editor at the time, he was backlogged, and I lied to him and said I had submissions editing experience.
Nice.
And I somehow parlayed that into a 15-year career in freelance editing of anthologies.
There you go. Fake it till you make it. That's what you do.
What do you enjoy about anthologies in general?
Well, I mean, from my point of view, I really just like working primarily with undiscovered talents quite a bit, which is why this Latinx books is great, because these are all 16-year-old kids who want to be cartoonists, and it's amazing. Yeah, I take a certain pride in if you have someone in your books that you publish and you're one of the first people to publish them, and then they go on to do great things, and they very rarely go back and thank you, but at the end of the day it's okay, that was cool. I don't know, I just like working with people who don't traditionally have an outlet for their voice.
That sounds great.
Thank you.
So tell us more about your current project.
Which one?
The 3-book series you said?
The colonial book. So yeah, so that's, like I said, underrepresented narratives, colonial American history. So that one, again, just fell in my lap. So I had knee surgery, which is a weird way to start the story about a comic.
No, it makes perfect sense.
yeah, I
You really
know.
don't have to explain it
It's
anymore.
your
But
secret origin.
Connect these dots.
I was so high on Percocets, and Matt Dembisky, who's the editor for a lot of other anthologies, local DC guy, told me that he was working with Fulcrum. They did Trickster and District Comics, and they wanted to do a New England comic book. And I was just high off of these drugs, and I was like, tell them to set up a meeting Friday. I'm gonna do this book. And I just started writing all these historians that I liked, and I said, hey, you ever thought about doing your work in comics? And they were like, who are you? But anyway, I got this whole team signed on in a 3-day period. And
Were you high on Percocet the entire time?
almost the entire time.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's the way to do it. So this is the trade
So
secret,
drugs are
guys.
the answer.
Trade
Okay.
secret is Percocets. But they were legal Percocets. But anyway, so I had that meeting with them on that Friday, and I said, I want to do this book. I want to focus on stories that kids don't normally learn in schools, and I have X, Y, Z people lined up to be a part of it. Do you want it? And they shipped me a 3-book contract, like sight unseen.
Wow.
Man, they don't know what's coming. It's
No,
just-
I don't, yeah.
Get
Now
ready,
you gotta
Fulcrum.
make the books though.
Well, I did 2 so far.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so-
All right,
So
good.
yeah, I got one more to go.
The pressure's off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can backstroke this
like-
one. Just like
Yeah,
take it
yeah,
easy.
yeah.
And now the publisher's like, oh, we're okay. All right.
Yeah. No, it's been going well. I like it. They're fun. They're a small publisher. I like working with small publishers.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people who's lucky enough to have a decent day job, so I could like do passion projects in the evening. So that's kind of what I do.
So, do you have any other this topic kind of came to you, I guess. That was brought to you to noodle through and see if it was worth pursuing. Is there anything else out there that you think might be something you'd like to dig into in the future?
Yeah, I'm putting actually together a project right now. Well, I'm putting together a proposal for a project right now. Again, focusing on sort of the stories of like the cultures and traditions we take with us, like as we come to America. But also not just looking at like first generation immigrants, but also looking at, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, et cetera, and seeing how these things tend to persist. So it's a book that I'm working on. I'm putting it together. It's going to be called Customs, I think, because I kind of like the dual thing.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
nice.
So hopefully I'll start working on that pretty seriously after we finish this teen book, this Latinx teen book.
What is your favorite part about like assembling an anthology team?
When it's done.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
man, I hate myself. Like as soon as I start working on it, I'm like, why did I agree to this?
Wow, really?
No, but that's not totally true. But like when it's done and like when you're holding a book and like for me, like I'm very hands-on. Like I'm a freelance editor, and the way I work is I like to like open up InDesign, I put the entire book together, and I send it to the publisher, and I say, here, I do all the design work myself, all the interstitial text. So again, like when you hold it in your hand, like it's a good 2 to 3 years worth of work just to like do this, because I play like multiple roles. So it's just fantastic, and it's great like when I send the comps out to creators, and they're like, this is great, and it's also great when like just kids are reading it, because I try to focus on middle graders and kids. So I mean, it's a very rewarding experience for me.
You mentioned getting into education as well.
Well, yeah, I mean the colonial books, for instance, are nonfiction. The Artists Against Police Brutality, it's used in a lot of schools. So a lot of the books I do, they're used in schools at this point. As, again, sort of like supplemental education. Because like the first colonial book, it's 1620 to 1750 New England, right? Like the only thing we know about that period is like we landed on Plymouth Rock, which is really like this little pebble. And there was some Native American who helped us, and then he mysteriously disappeared.
Yeah.
We burned a bunch of witches, and then, next thing you know, we're at the war with England. So like there's all these stories to kind of like
concise,
fill
yeah.
in. So like a lot of teachers use this to kind of fill in the stories in between that you don't normally teach, and they're personal human stories.
Right.
And they're stories of like real everyday heroes, and like we did a lot of digging to find these, and kids resonate with that. The kids resonate with the fact that they could be a part of history. You don't really learn that when you learn about George Washington,
Yeah.
So had you done like teaching outside of doing comics, or was that just the kind of both?
No, they came hand in hand. I started teaching originally for Arlington Adult Education. I'm local. And I started teaching for them as I was doing like comic classes. And then I did some things for the Bethesda Writer Center. But now I'm at the point where I tend to try to get grants and work with institutions that will like pay to do like workshops for their kids.
So you put together these nonfiction books filled with important information that kids can use that they may not be privy to otherwise. How often do you slip in things that are completely untrue? I mean, not necessarily to see if the teachers are paying attention, but really to kind of craft and hone
Yes.
what these people will think.
shape
going
these
forward.
young minds.
All right. So the answer to that is nothing has snuck past me yet.
Oh, snuck past
right.
you.
Having said that, I have given some of my artists artistic license and made notes in the text or whatever
Sure.
saying, this didn't exactly happen this way, but man, it looks nice.
I like that.
I got you.
You got to go a little Hollywood sometimes.
Yeah.
And then he came into town with his riches of rubber bands.
Yeah.
It's like, man.
Maybe not exactly that way, but close
Yeah.
enough.
So if someone wanted to look into your work or the products that you're on, is there anything online that they should seek out?
Yeah, sure. I mean, jasonrodriguez.com. It's spelled RODRIGUEZ. And I'm on Twitter, Jay Rodriguez, Jay Rodriguez. You can find me in bookstores, Amazon, most of my work. But I'd say just go to my website and check it out from there.
Cool.
Now, Izzy, I have an important question for you.
Go
Very
ahead.
important.
Would you like to answer a mystery question?
I would love to answer a mystery
Boom,
question.
let's bring him on in.
So, this is exciting.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Oh boy.
Who knows what the question will be?
Nice.
Why read it? You guys read it.
You
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
It's a question for you.
What is the best conversation you've had with an animal? Oh.
Ah.
All right, so there's the sad version. All right, so I have a lot of animals in my house, and I
Okay.
traditionally, at one point, I had 10 dogs in my house,
Holy crap.
and I do a lot of foster
That
work.
sounds
and
like a
once I
disability.
fostered a pregnant dog, and the vet told me there was only one puppy, and there were 6, and I sat there drinking beer while watching these 6 puppies pop out. It was
Wow.
amazing. All right, but one of the best conversations I ever had with an animal, and it was on like a very difficult day, and I had this dog Lucy, and she was fantastic. And I remember just like feeling the weight of the world on me, and I just like collapsed on the floor, and she came over and started licking my face, and I told her all about everything that was wrong while she was licking my face, and then when it was all said and done, I just like felt anew and stood up and just like got on with my day in life. It was great.
That's an
Fantastic.
amazing conversation.
Yes.
Okay.
I need to talk to Lucy.
Well,
Right.
Lucy's dead now, but
Oh
yeah.
my
Well,
God.
you know
Rest in
what?
peace, Lucy.
Yeah. Rest in power, Lucy.
Wow, I really missed out then.
Yeah, sorry
I
about
could
that.
use that unburden me.
You just gotta handle your own crap now. Sorry.
Well, any dogs now named Lucy are out there watching, please hit me up.
Joe can use some help.
I need help. Thank you so much, Jason, for
Well,
talking
thanks
with
for
us.
having me, guys. It
Yes.
was always.
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
I love your videos, and thanks for having me. This is
Glad
my
to
first
meet
time in
you
an SPX video. I'm very excited.
Exciting.
Yeah.
All right, right on. Thank you.
Thanks.